Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to the Nudelberg Daily Huddle, where we are here daily, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m., live with you guys, building community, sharing energy, sharing best practices, and just getting the day started the right way. Good morning, John.
I am back in the home office. The travel is behind me. The stage, all of the networking, all of the good stuff got out of the mountains. There is no fire behind me, thank God. I think my neighbors would have a problem with that.
We missed the campfire.
The guy set a campfire in his condo, So, but really good. Always good to get back. We talked about routines. Routines can be a rut, or routines could be the thing that snaps you back in line. And so this morning I was back with my man Pete Ocasio, and that gentleman kicked my ass, and rightfully so. I'm up in pounds, a lot of beer, a lot of salty food,
a lot of entertaining that happened.
Got a little chubbiness going on. So
funny.
Today it's back to heavy water, heavy good stuff. But I'm excited to be back. What a trip! Great, met some great people who you even said, boy, there was some activity there.
Yeah,
lots of connecting, so
people reaching out to me saying they met you, saying they love the huddle, all that kind of good stuff. And I want to make sure that we get a shout out to Justin Sherman, who says he's coming down to West Palm May 15th. He wants to make sure he connects with you. So put that on the docket for you.
Justin's our baseball friend from up north. He's been a huddler for way back.
He's actually doing the training camp with one of the guys that played high school baseball with, Sean Garcelle.
No shit, man. What a small world.
The other day.
So obviously the group of people that you were talking to, you did not teach the LinkedIn course to, because most of them came into my world without a message, just a blank invite. So all of them got, my normal response, which is, thank you for the invite. Do you mind me asking what made you want to connect? And one guy said, love your dad's stuff. And I wrote back to him, yeah, I think he's all right. He died at that. He thought that was really funny. So
shout out to Lauren Bernheim. She's a career networker, and she found the right networking spot. So awesome stuff. What day is it today, Mark? Tell me what day
it is. It is draft day, but before we get to draft day, let's wake everybody up with some music, and then let's get into it.
Wake up, everybody! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Wake up! Come on! Come on! Wake up, everybody! It's a new way. Maybe then there's this what you have to say. Wake up, everybody! No more sleeping in bed. No more back to thinking, time of thinking ahead. Come on now.
A quick comment about the music. So yesterday when I was in front of the fire, I did not use my headphones. I just had the show playing, and two people came out of their cottages and said, that was good music. So,
it works.
It works.
It works.
Wake up, baby, man. It was like, so that worked, man. Good stuff.
Well, there are some kids waking up today, and I think you can call them kids because most of them are between the ages of 20 and 22, that are waking up very excited because tonight is the first day of the NFL draft. So the first round will happen tonight from 8 o'clock until sometime after 10 probably. But there's a lot of good things to talk about when it comes to the draft. There's a lot of, things I want to talk about in the parallels to business. But before we do any of that, I just want to show you a video of a compilation of people getting drafted so you can understand what it means to these people. Shay, show me the video.
The New England Patriots select Rob Gronkowski.
It seems that the Patriots chose him 42nd overall. That's a football playing family right there, folks.
With the
249th pick in the 2014 NFL Draft, the St. Louis Rams select Michael Sam, defensive end, Missouri.
There it is. So the St. Louis Rams go ahead and choose Michael Sam.
The Cleveland Browns select Danny Shelton. Yeah, baby. Defensive tackle, Washington.
Great athletes.
There's your bear hug. You might lose it.
That was the first ever professional lift, I believe.
The Dallas Cowboys select Jalen Smith, linebacker, Notre Dame.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you, sir. All right now.
Ooh, that's emotional, dude. That's emotional.
So it's very cool, to have come from that world and know that most of the people picked today are the very best in their class. Whatever position that they played in, whatever league they played in, they were the very best, one of the elite members of that group of kids. And they are walking into an environment where they are not even close to the best anymore. Well, they have a mountain to climb in front of them. It's really amazing. Like, you think about going from being the big fish in a big pond to then being a big fish in an even bigger pond, and the mindset that you have to have in order to go do the work that's necessary in order to be successful.
So for me, there's a couple of major takeaways. Before that, a couple of shout outs. Great to have Scott McGregor back. When you talk about drafting, it's one of the best things you can do in your own business. If you draft the right players, you win a lot of the games, So love his perspective and glad to have him back. Steve Bruder, who is somebody I met in Georgia. Welcome to the show. Thanks for your participation. Mark, he is from Columbus, Ohio. And so
he's a Buckeye. Him and I went back and forth in an exchange on LinkedIn as well. So glad to have him this morning.
So for me, the takeaway there is a couple of different things. Number one is to be a parent and watch your kid. Whoo!
Right.
Mind blowing. It's just,
right.
You see the hugs, the amount of stuff those parents did to get their kids to that level is unmatched. You talk about investment of time, energy, discipline, everything. That there is something to be said there. And then when you talk about, and I felt this way a little bit when I spoke on Monday, Jesse spoke on Tuesday.
Yeah,
that's another level. He's, he did billions of dollars with Marquis Jet. The numbers changed, but he's still the same guy. Still, so there is another level where the competition is greater. There is, and they talked about it this morning. Jay Will said, and I don't know the guy's name. The guy's coming out of LSU who's saying he's the best receiver.
Jamar Chase.
Yes. And Jamar is saying, I'm the best guy in this class and whatever. And he goes, the minute he steps on the field, he's not even near the best guy. So
correct. I mean, like, that's, you're looking at the Heisman winner who is coming out at 166 pounds. And I had this conversation with Jake. I said, there's not a corner in the NFL. I don't care what team you're looking at that weighs less than 185, 190 pounds. So you're going to draft this guy to go. He's the Heisman winner. He's the best dude in this draft class. He was awarded the best player award. Yet when he steps into the league, he's got an unbelievable amount of work to do just to be good enough to be consistent in the league. So I think it's amazing to think about that.
People are going to have a chip, it's like you open up your mouth, you won the Heisman Trophy. Okay, Heisman boy, come on. Let's go. So, let's see what the Heisman does for you out here.
So if you're not into the draft tonight and you don't know anything about it, there was a movie that Kevin Costner did, which if you talk about sports movies, Kevin Costner's done some phenomenal sports movies. But when you talk about the movie Draft Day, it really lets you into the behind the scenes of what's happening with these teams as they're trying to build the right organization. Show me the culmination of all the work on draft day.
That's what they want. Okay, screw it. No more offer. It's off the table, Tom. I'm taking Callahan.
Whoa, no. Wait.
right, you have a deal.
Give you your picks. We have a deal.
What else do we need?
Special teams. Putney. Get Putney.
Yeah, David Putney. Putney. Yeah. Putney. Hello? Sonny?
I'm sorry, that deal's now off the table.
What?
We live in a different world than we did just 30 seconds ago.
What? What do you want now?
I want my picks back, and I want David Putney. I need a punt returner.
Where the hell did that come from?
It doesn't matter. I want all my picks back, and I want David goddamn Putney just because I feel like it.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah, I am. Haven't I proved that already? You make this deal right now, Tom, and you get Bo Callahan. Say it with me. You get Bo. Come on, Tom. Say it with me, you pancake-eating motherfucker.
All right, shit. Deal.
Great. You're welcome. Confirm the trade. God damn it, I love this job.
Yeah. So some unbelievable negotiating skills there. I mean, we can talk about the quote, "We live in a different world than we lived in 30 seconds ago," is the quote of the century.
Goddamn right, man. Unbelievable. I mean, but balls of steel. You know, that's what, you know, I'm going for it. This is what it is. You know, I'm going to watch that movie again later on today, just before the draft. You know,
so good.
It is so amazing.
Vontae Mack, no matter what.
Vontae Mack is the guy that he wants to draft in that scene. But so what's happening in the draft and what goes in to even that negotiation of the way players get evaluated, there are some basic metrics like their 40-yard dash, like how many times they can bench press 225 pounds, you know, what their vertical jump is, how they look in drills, what their game tape says about them. Those all create qualities that then give them a certain draft grade, make them worthwhile to an organization, which I think if you looked at yourself that way, your 40-yard dash doesn't matter how good you are in sales, but there are some great qualities about you as a person that should make you valuable to an organization. And I thought we could talk about some of those.
I think, you know, when we talked about the and or the but, when Scott Smith, you know, I rewatched it. I never even introduced him. I was so excited to have him on. Scott Smith, the CEO of True Network. You know, and he's but he's, and so I think if you look for the ands in your organization, this is where all the soft skills are. This is where culture matters. Is he a team player? Is he coachable? You know, I mean,
coachable. And I would say, so like, you know, speed is a thing that kills in football. I think in business, energy is a thing that kills. Like when somebody walks in the room, do I feel their presence? Do I feel their interaction? If they have that, check the box. Let's move on to the next evaluation of something. So when you're talking about how do I set myself up to be a #1 draft pick, how do I position myself as a Hall of Famer in business, I think the first quality is energy, because that's an intangible. You either have it or you don't. You either display it and come with it all the time, or you don't, and it's a difference maker.
So I talked about it on stage. I said, look, you know, you can control your own output. That's a control the controllables. You can control what you bring to it. And I said to them, if I had come out on stage and I was like, hey, wow, it was a long trip here, and you know, the pollen count is off the chart, and so I'm just gonna do this thing, you know, nobody wins. But if you bring it, and again, I go back to the thing. If I showed up in the room and I lit myself on fire, bang, everybody's paying attention. What? That guy's nuts, you know, and that's one for me my whole career. Not phony energy, not, genuine, because there's a faker in there. The, the played shit. This is genuine stuff here that that is so real, so on. I wanted to shout out Melissa Moreland. She's new to the Huddle. Thank you, Brianne, for bringing people. That's a quality connecting. Thank you.
So that's a good question, Lori. Can you fake energy? I don't think you can fake energy, but you can be at a 7 or be at a 5 and get yourself to an 8 or a 9 before you walk in somewhere. But that's all mental. That's all mental conditioning. That's doing the things you need to do. There are times that I do not feel great walking into the Huddle, but I know I got to deliver because we're here to do this thing this morning. So if I got my ass kicked in my workout for an hour this morning, didn't sleep great last night, I can either use that as an excuse to show up with no energy, or I can get an extra cup of coffee, try to eat a few more almonds, do something to get myself in a different mindset to where I need to be there. So I don't think it's faking it, but it's knowing what I need to do to get myself to that spot.
I think, when I think about faking energy, it's when it's disingenuous. It just feels put on. Hey, are you really that, or are you acting? If you're like, I never act. I've figured out how to get from a 5 to a 10. That's what's your spinach. I wrote about it in the book. You figure out your spinach. It's working out. It's reading something. It's music, that gets you to that 10. When you figure that out, you are genuinely in the zone. I think people who fake it to be in the zone, they have sort of a fake smile and a fake attitude. It's just disingenuous, And so I think people who try to be that's not, you got to be who you are. And that's where the energy comes from authentically.
So another, I think, intangible that I would look for in a person if we were drafting an organization would be optimism. And you talked about it, like if you would have got on stage and been like, oh, it was a really long flight here and the pollen is really bothering my nose. If the first 3 things out of somebody's mouth, or even the first thing out of somebody's mouth is a negative, they do not have an optimistic outlook. They don't have an optimistic, perspective. Their optimism is not in their DNA. That's a deal breaker for me. I can train you to do our process. I can coach you to do the things we need to do. I can't coach you to be optimistic. I can't coach you to bring energy. That is something you have to do personally. And so that would check a box for me.
Optimism. So I think McGregor talks about resiliency. I don't think you can teach resiliency. I don't, you can show other people, you can show videos. This is what it's like when, this is what it's like to be resilient. This is what it's like, to be a guy that was homeless is now talking on stages all over the world. That's a guy who's, confident in himself. But, Laura Brody, who I love that she comes to the Huddle still, out of St. Pete and Tampa, she says entertainers sometimes fake. I don't believe that. I think you act as if you know what it feels like to be on the zone. And so you act like the word fake it till you make it is the most horse shit recommendation ever. Don't fake it till you make it. Act as if you're there. What does it feel like to be sitting in the seat, to be catching the touchdown, to be doing all that stuff? That's a whole different mindset than faking it, because faking does not work.
Which Andrew Feldman talked about the next intangible that I think I would look for, which is grit. And that is grit to me. Being willing to empty the tank to do what I need to do to get to the level I need to be at, that is grit. I don't feel great. I know I have to perform. I will do whatever it takes to get to my expectation that I've set for myself to deliver, no matter what's happening. So that is a decision that I have to make. I'm willing to empty the tank. I'm willing to go broke. I'm willing to give it all to get to where I need to be. And that to me is grit. And another thing that you can find in people by asking them questions about the way they've gone about their endeavors in their life. But it's an intangible that I think you can't coach somebody to have. They have to make the decision to do that for themselves.
I think that is one of the most relevant conversations that you can have with yourself is, Jesse talked about under indexing. That's where, at 40%, most people go, out, tag, I'm out.
Yeah.
Tap on the shoulder, please come and get me. And, he talks about going to 100%. I'm saying if you got another 10%, squeeze the lemon, get it. And, that's where the magic is. And by the way, that's what people see. There was a video about a kid, they blindfold and they put someone on his back or something, and he's crawling on the field, and they keep telling him 10 more yards, and he goes 100 yards. So there you go. Michelle hits it right on the head. You're an imposter. You are a
fake
fake.
it till you make it, and it feeds the imposter syndrome. So, and imposter syndrome is natural. Like, there are really, really successful people that feel imposter syndrome consistently because it's part of that pendulum swing. Like, I can't believe I really got here. Am I doing these things? Am I really what everybody cracks it up to be? But I've got 4 more qualities that I think are really important that I want to get to as we go through this. Shay, give me overtime. We're going to go a few minutes of overtime.
And we'll go to overtime.
So the next one
seems appropriate with the draft day.
Is punctuality. Like, punctuality. When you show up to Zooms or in-person meetings, if that's what you're doing, how quickly the follow-up is, if you're living within that 24-hour follow-up rule, when somebody asks you for something, how quick a response they get. Punctuality is an intangible that you choose to do or not do. It's not a skill that I'm going to coach you. It's something that this is a quality of somebody that make you valuable to an organization, make you draftable.
In my day, I had my morning get-togethers. If you were late, I locked the door and you were gone. You couldn't get in. That's it. We're not waiting for you. The train left. The plane's not waiting. The train's not waiting. So if you think about this, you don't respect yourself enough to show up on time. Don't fuck with my crowd,
Well, it's exactly. So there's 2, and I did the same thing with my special teams meetings. This is something that we believed in, is I couldn't lock the door, but they would show up and I would tell them to leave. 2 things there. They missed the opportunity to learn the things that I was teaching in that meeting. And you're not going to disrespect my time or anybody else on this team's time by showing up whenever you feel like. So I was teaching that rule. You were teaching that rule of punctuality to people. The next one I think is really important, which feeds into that, is the attention to detail. When you follow up with somebody, are their type?
So Jake knows this. He brought this up for a reason, because if you brought baked goods, you got in.
They knew the secret code to the door. But so attention to detail is, first of all, you can't be punctual without having great attention to detail. But how you say things, how you show up, if your clothes are wrinkled or whether they're pressed and looking sharp, your follow-up emails or your introductory emails, are there typos? Is it formatted correctly? All of those things that go into having attention to detail is another thing that's a non-negotiable for our organization and makes you draftable and valuable to another organization.
So all of these things point to how you show up in the world, and if you really pay attention, if you could zoom out 10,000 feet and look down at yourself and say, wow, that's how I show up in the world, you're either proud or you're not. I'm proud of the way I show up. I'm proud of the way I think. I'm proud of the way I want to help people. My spidey instinct is that. Those are qualities that if you build a team of people who are all like that, that chemistry wins. It's better than the speed on the field. And, you talk to any leader and they will say, one bad apple spoils the whole thing, because you've been in locker rooms where there's been a bad egg.
They're called locker room cancers. And if you allow one, and I've had this conversation a couple times recently over the past couple weeks, there is one bad egg who has been spoiling the 2 or 3 or 4 around them in the organization. So it's created a bigger problem because the root of the problem never got dealt with, continued to be passed along and made an excuse for and allowed to happen.
I know we're going long, but I got to share this.
Yeah.
In most sales organizations, what was standard is the new guy would come in and somebody from the old regime would shit down his throat and tell, this place sucks.
Put out his fire.
Put out his fire. Bang, zoom. You know, like, so for me, I don't want any new people in the bullpen. I pull them out, take them. I say, listen, I'm going to take you for 90 days. I'll grow you. You'll show them. And that's how you weed people out. That's how you grow the culture you want. Because some people are so weak. They just they see fire and they get intimidated by it. So amazing that this is so relevant to who gets picked tonight and what happens. And it's going to be a fun night. I think the Dolphins, for you guys it's a mystery if their moves worked. For me, the Jets, who knows?
They're gonna get a quarterback. I can tell you that they're gonna get a quarterback.
They have a quarterback. They've got 3 quarterbacks.
The last 2 traits are creativity and connectivity, which you hit on. But the ability to think outside the box with an organization, bring ideas, bring fresh ideas, not be afraid to do those things, and have some creativity within the structure that they guide you to be in. And the last one is connectivity, being able to connect people, being able to connect the dots as you see things happening and processes happening, and being able to assimilate yourself to those things. These are all intangibles that can make you really valuable to an organization. They are things that if you're getting drafted in the top 10 picks tonight, you probably embody a lot of these things for an organization, and it's going to be a fun night.
I am excited about it. I think there is some mystery as to see where, for Jake especially, where Kyle Pitts shows up. Jake had the pleasure of being in the locker room. I think he's the best player in the draft as far as I'm concerned. And
Jesse
wait a minute.
Dice in the house. Good to see you this morning, Jesse. And I agree with you. Zach Wilson is Bo Callahan 1,000%. Well done.
So, Mark, you brought up a comment about what the Dolphins need to do if they see the right guy. Take us home with that mindset, if you remember it from this morning.
Yeah, 1,000%. The strategy should be do whatever it takes to get a game changer. You've done a lot with the organization and getting it to a place where it can be successful. You are missing a guy who changes the game. Give to somebody that is a game changer. And in my opinion, whatever you have to do to go get Kyle Pitts, they should do. But we'll see what happens tonight.
And if he winds up in Atlanta, which is likely, Feldman will be happy, number one. And number two
is take us to a game.
Well, so number one will take us to a game. We could do that. We know the people at the Mercedes don't. But he reignites Matt Ryan's career. He puts, then you really see what that team is about. So unbelievable show. One of my favorites. We went way over time, but I think it was worth it. So take us home.
So
you got music
out there? Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you who didn't know, today was going to be Aretha Franklin's Respect, because that's what happened today in history. But that's not the way we're ending the show. We are ready to get after it today on this Thursday. So everybody, let's get down to business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get